Welcome everyone. It's been a while. Went to Peru. Missed a couple of weeks. Been super busy. You can probably see it on my face. A little worn down, a little tired. Been back in the action. And just wasn't going to happen on a weekend, so I moved it to Tuesday. Might be the new day. I don't know. But had to get it done. So, you know, that's how it goes. Lots of new members. Thank you for everyone who signed up. Want to hit some of the announcements. We have a meeting, or not, well, yes, a meeting as well. The third Saturday of every month is the YouTube member meeting. What's the next one? The next one, is it Joe Cutler? Can't remember. I have to look at the schedule. In fact, let me do that. That way I'll be educated just like you guys, because you probably know. Let me get to the right page. Oh, it's Tom Barr. See, I was wrong. Tom Barr is next. So the 18th, we'll get the links up. I think we may have the link up here now. Yeah, if you click the where button, it'll link you to the actual video. So that way, one more way for you guys to find where the video is happening if you come to our website. Then on October 2nd, we do have a store event, basically. It's going to be upstairs. We're buying pizza and all of that, and kind of a meet and greet. Dean will be there, I'll be there, Zenzo will be in there. That's too many words put together. We'll be there. I think Candy will be there as well. Not certain yet. I haven't officially asked her, and she could have wicked big plans and not be able to make it that day, so I don't know about that. And then I want to remind everyone that we will be at the Library Association Convention in Florida on the 21st. So we'll be doing some filming there while we're down there. I think we're going to do extremes. Fish farm, we've got some collecting to do, which is part of the event itself, and some other things. So just want to make sure the word's getting out there, because I haven't live streamed the last couple. You know, I want to be like, I didn't know that was happening. Trying to get that word out for everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing well. I know it's been a little while, and I got some members only videos out, so that was good. Videos from before we went to Peru are just coming out. Definitely had someone who was like, this is BS, you're putting out videos from before we went to Peru. That's kind of how our schedule has to work. We had to get videos ready to be able to leave, and then if we came back horribly sick or anything like that, we just didn't want no videos to ever come out. So you have to have videos ahead of time. So we did. And so now you'll be seeing, I mean, nothing ever is going to be like real time, but you'll be starting to see, like, I think this Sunday, which I've moved the video release schedule around and trying to move my schedule around to get ready for the busy season again, which is right upon us. But Sunday, I think the first Peru video will happen, unless some more snafus come up with the footage. There's so much footage there that Jimmy's racing as fast as he can to get through it and put together the first video and figure out the storylines and all of that. But I did film a video, 2 videos yesterday actually, and the one was, I think I spoke about it a little bit at some point, was an auto-synkless video, and got some cool footage and saw some things. And so it's mostly it's a 16-minute video, if you can believe that, on auto-synkless. So, you know, it's kind of in depth, but then also just, you know, talking about all of these different things without giving it away. I don't want to give it away, because then you don't have to watch the video. You just watch the live stream, right? So got that filmed. So that'll be the first one, because that footage is easy to pull out of what we had going on. And then from there, it'll probably be alternating kind of Peru, non-Peru video, non-Peru video. So that way, if you're not into the Peru videos, you got other stuff. It also gives us time to edit it, because those videos are very intense for Jimmy to do. It's very long hours to make one of those videos, because he has to watch, I think right now, just of Dean's timeline, it's 19 hours of footage, right? So you got to at least watch, imagine you just watch through it once, right? That's 2.5 work days just to see what you have there. Then to start working on it, right? So you can kind of see where, wow, that's a lot to organize and do everything, right? And then some of us went on some different trips and things like that. So that's where he needs those extra weeks. We know you guys want to see it soon. So we want to get something coming out, but at the same time, make sure we don't just gloss over an amazing piece of footage, and make sure we tell the story right and all of that. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I mean, it was fun making it, and that's why we do it. So yeah. Didn't realize my membership lapsed. Well, thanks for coming back, Justin Mosley. Welcome. Glad to have you back. I also want to cover, so I've got my little notes that I always try and do, and I try to remember doing before the end of the show, and now I'm trying to do them at the beginning of the show, so that way I'm very tired still, like I'm catching up on sleep and all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to like sign off the show and be like, I didn't do anything of my job, right? Because my job is gotta promote the business and sell you guys some stuff, but then I just want to hang out. And so, if I get the business part out of the way, then I can just hang out with you guys. We do have some new products, which I'm going to go over. This person, though, is asking, can I ask anybody that knows if I'm recharging Purigen for the first time, how much safe do I use? It only says how much prime to use, but I use safe. So safe is the dry version of prime, which is a dechlorinator. And when you recharge Purigen, which we do sell, by the way, which it absorbs different things like phosphates and that kind of stuff, but you use bleach to clean it. Now, the bleach itself is obviously harmful to fish, but breaking down bleach or chlorine you can do with a dechlorinator. So, in my opinion, personally, you can't really go with too much. So you could glug, 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 glug on the prime. You could put extra powder in there. Now, if you're trying to go, well, I don't want to waste any powder, then you got to look at the instruction and go, okay, and I don't know, so you got to look this up, but if it's 1 teaspoon per 100 gallons, well, if you're doing it in a 5-gallon bucket or in a 1-gallon jar, you need to do that math, basically, is what you're going to have to do. But for most people, I think they're just going to go, yeah, at least enough, put that in there, swirl it around, let that sit for a day or two, and then you could do that again if you want. And really, when you're recharging Purigen, I am looking for the sniff test. And does it smell like a pool? Does it smell like chlorine? The answer is no. You're probably good to go. You could always soak it one more day in another bucket of clear water just to be 100% sure, but also letting it dry because chlorine evaporates, right? And so, if you leave bleach open, it'll evaporate into the air and that can become toxic and all that, but eventually it would completely dry out and highly likely to be safe again. So, obviously follow the directions, but I don't have that direct conversion right off the top of my head for you. I'm a guy that uses prime because it's easier and I like the pump head. Or putting a pump head, that's why I use Fritz Complete. But, I know a lot of people do use safe. All right. Yes, Dean was holding Instagram posts about turtles and those types of things until we actually released the video because it kind of spoils stuff and people start asking questions and all of that. And so, yes, Elmer is quite a little character. And we got a little bit of flack for, endangered species and all that. And really what happened was I wanted to make more of a feature of like the paperwork and that process and all of that. And we just ran out of time and had to go to Peru. And so that video was being edited while we were in Peru. But like right over there I have, the stamp paperwork. It had to be literally imported. So, well, let me show you guys a little bit of what goes on there. See if I can find, is it Red CITES list? Why can I not find the list? Let me think here. Well, this is always anticlimactic. I cannot find the list that I want that shows. I've done it in live streams before. I just don't know why I can't find it right now. Yeah, this is a it's not non-descriptive. It's not as good looking. Maybe they changed the website, but basically, I'll just show you this a little bit. When it comes to importing and moving fish and animals and things like that around the world, there's kind of a CITES list, and I forget what the acronym stands for, but basically it oversees what level of danger animals are in. Are they plentiful? Are they going extinct? Are they extinct? Are they protected? Are, all of those things about an animal, right? And so depending on if it's CITES 1, 2, or 3, right, and that's where you might have heard some of the talks about maybe zebra plecos going on the CITES list and different things like that, because once they're at a certain level on the CITES list, you now have to import them as opposed to just ordering them, right? Like, and they have to have documentation and maybe site visits. All right, I think we're back. I don't know what went wrong, but we'll edit and post and try to fix this up. So where I was going with, I don't know where it cut out, but we were wanting to show paperwork more on the import process, the costs, the work that we went through, and maybe highlight a little bit more that, yes, you can buy a fly river turtle, but 99% of every fly river turtle you'll ever see will be a smuggled import, illegal, in all of those. And, you know, I get that an animal's an animal and, you know, you take care of it all the same, but I would not spend money towards one that I knowingly knew to be false documentation or anything like that. And so the CITES, with government officials inspecting and authorizing and all of that, is why it took 15 years. I could have many times went and bought one for probably $500 to $1,000, kind of a backdoor deal, but that's not right. And so I wouldn't morally be okay with it. Now, these ones were captive bred, you know, so they weren't just collected and, you know, sent off and give, you know, a stamp of paperwork and all of that. But, you know, it was important to myself and then, you know, Dean as well, that we got them legally and now we can enjoy them and we're going to do the best we can. You know, there was comments about changing the decor and things like that. You know, we've watched a lot of footage. We've read a ton of articles. We've, you know, a lot of these pets, to me, are like Mubu puffers, where a well-written article gets written and then everyone will cite that source over and over and over and over and over again, instead of people kind of putting their own spin on it and by like learning. And so I'm taking that approach of, yes, I've done lots of research, but then also I'm leaning upon, like, I've got a, you know, someone who's a moderator and that kind of stuff, who's had, I want to say they've had their fly river turtle for 15 years. And so, you know, I'm saying, like, what's your experiences? You know, how have you been, you know, how have you been doing with it? And so you've got some people, you know, that keep a lot of reptiles. They also keep a lot of fish. Then I've got all the articles I've read. I've got turtles I've kept, and I'm putting all that knowledge together to give a best possible chance. And also I want to learn, and I want you guys to learn with me. So yes, we can all read the same article and take that as this is the only way to ever keep an animal. But then also, you know, if we were following the guidelines for Mubu puffer, that 800-gallon aquarium is too small for that puffer, is what the well-known article would say. So, you know, it's not that I only want to push back, but I like to see, like, if tomorrow I feel that 230-gallon tank is not big enough, I'll upgrade it. However, I think it's going to be fine for 6 months, a year. As it's getting bigger, then I can upgrade and I can learn and I can build out the next version of what I think this animal is going to like from my own observations. So I'm hoping you guys enjoy that process as well. What type of chair is this one? I don't know. My wife would probably know. I actually ordered another one because this was in my house. Aquariumcoop, kind of avocado green. And I just wanted a more comfortable chair for actually working long hours and doing the live stream. And so I think is it a Swedish made chair? I don't know what the brand is, but it wasn't cheap. But I spent a lot of time in it, so it's very comfortable. Although I kind of wish it wasn't leather. It gets a little sweaty. All right, I'm going to talk about some products now, and then we'll answer some more questions, and hopefully the stream won't just explode like it did earlier. But some of the new products we've got, well, some new product or package updates, like Pleco Cave is shipping in its own, new box, which I think is cool. When I was walking through, where I was like, I don't think I've seen that yet. Like, obviously we've been selling the product, right? And we designed the box, but what's cool to me is this box that like myself, Jimmy, Lizzie, Randy, and a different graphic designer all worked on probably 9 or 12 months ago is finally in front of my eyes. Like, hey, that actually came out, because it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you get it and you go, now that I see it in person, yeah, I should have done that a little different. Like, that wasn't great. So just to see, you know, the new packaging, you know, we request things like, oh, let's do a little more bubble wrap, let's do this, let's do that. But I think it came out pretty darn well as far as a, you know, protective box, you know, a little bit thicker cardboard to ship to Caves. So not the Caves, not a new product, we've been selling a long time, but the new box is new, and I like to look at it, and it reminds me of just like, oh yeah, we worked on that. That's sometimes I forget how many products we've actually worked on, because I'm always like, right now I'm working on lights and other stuff, and yeah, I don't know if I can't remember where we're at in live stream world, but right now money cannot get a refrigerated cargo container from anywhere in the world to America at the moment. We've been trying for like 3 months, and we're at the point now where we're going to run out in about 5 weeks of brine shrimp. And so we're going to, you know, we're going to have to air freight it. And the quote, so basically I go, okay, well, if we don't do anything, that's bad. We're going to run out, and what do we do? Like, how long can they store and all that, right? The price to air freight 1 pallet, so probably like 4 feet tall pallet of brine shrimp eggs, is $5,000. And we break that down per can, and you do all the math, and basically what it came down to is we'd be able to sell brine shrimp and just kind of not make any money. So you know, in a meeting, I have the choice of, do we just sit out of the product and make no money? Or do we have the product in stock and make no money? And I think it's better to be in stock and not make money than be out of stock and not make money. So we'll be paying so much money. Like we have a nearly a 40-foot cargo container, which is like, I don't know, something like 40 pallets or something crazy of brine shrimp that now needs to get here before we run out. And yeah, it's turned into this giant fiasco. We're actually out of a product right now, the white fine filter pads, because they were going to ship with the frozen brine shrimp, but since that thing could never leave, now we're sold out. Like, it's turned into this giant fiasco. And yeah, new supplier. I live near the Great Salt Lakes, where brine shrimp is farmed a ton. They won't let anyone play. They've got, you know, kind of a mafia thing going where there's 2 companies that are allowed to farm it with the permits. And then what you guys don't know about the industry probably is those eggs that are farmed there are sent to China to be processed, and then they come back. So it wouldn't actually help us with the problem at all, because you still have to have, well, I guess you don't have to have the refrigerated container coming back, but to have the best quality in hatch, you do. And so that's why we're doing it. And air freight will work because they'll be getting, you know, they'll be like freezing in the cargo hold. So that's going to work. But, you know, it took a product where we're like, yeah, we make some money, to like, we're not making any money at all. And it's brutal. Obviously, all shipping rates, the whole country in the world is going up. So it's, yeah, that's, but literally no amount of money can buy that thing. We've been trying for 3 months straight with consolidators and people we work with, and there's a lot of money in brine shrimp eggs. I believe we have $70,000 in brine shrimp eggs sitting that can't board a boat for 3 months now. So I've got like that back end stress, just always like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? And they keep saying like, we hope someone will start taking those containers, and they just haven't for 3 months. So go back to products we can sell you, right? All right. So we've got the Aquariumcoop sponge filters, which you guys hopefully know about, right? And one request that we've had for quite a while is a Powerhead option, which we now have an Aquariumcoop Powerhead. It's just a white box because we wanted to get it on a boat instead of designing the package. So the next batch that will probably arrive in 3 or 6 months or whatever that's going to be will be in our branding. But for now, it comes in a white box. You take out all the parts here. So the thing we wanted to do was fit perfectly onto a sponge filter, which it does. So now this allows you, once you put it all together, right, you can now set that in your aquarium somewhere. It doesn't have to be against a wall, so now you have somewhere you can put it. We did have comments that are asking, can I get longer tubes or short tubes? We don't have the ability to send you that, but sponge filters do stack. Our sponge filters you could do too high, right? Now why would you do a power head and a sponge? If you really want to collect debris, this is a way to do that. It's a much faster flow. It's going to polish water. But if you're looking for this purely biological, breaking down ammonia, I think an airstone is actually better. Now, one of the other questions we got is, well, how did Aquariumcoop change or improve this product, right? And the answer is not by very much. Now, what I mean by that is, at a certain point, like let's say I had this Diet Coke, right? And then Aquariumcoop says, hey, we're going to start making a soft drink. Well, how'd you make the bottle better? There's only so many ways to change a bottle. Maybe the shape, maybe the type of plastic, maybe the way it's recycled. There's very few things, right? And a power head was fairly similar here. How can you change a power head? So one of the things I got rid of was the Venturi system, you know, where it can suck in air and blow it out. I got rid of that because too often, I would say 90% of people, and we polled some people, and we talked to a lot of people that, you know, run fish rooms, been in the hobby a long time. How many would ever use a Venturi system? Very few. But that Venturi system does suck in autosynclus, baby fish, all of that when eventually you lose the connector. So we actually deleted that. Why did we delete that? Because I use it way more to put a hose on it and pump water and do water changes and all of that. When you have the little dealy bob right here, you can only get, it can only go on a little bit and it falls off all the time. So we thought people would use that a lot more than the Venturi system. So we made that, we actually had to do a whole new mold for this piece to delete that, all right? Which also had to have the new mold anyway because we wanted to fit our tube exactly, which it does. It's a very like tight fit. Like it's on there, right? Next thing, what was my next problem with power heads? Because power heads are kind of, you done one, you done them all. They're kind of moving some water around. Cord length. Now, last time I quoted it was wrong, so it's going to be one of these two. It's either 11.4 or 11.8 feet of cord. Because if you have an 800-gallon aquarium, or your plug-in is at the other side of your aquarium, you got to go all the way across your 6-foot tank, 2 feet down in your tank, you're already at least 8 feet. Oh, plus you got to plug it in behind, you might be at 10 feet. And so you've got cord for days. Never have to worry about, is this cord going to be long enough to plug it in? So that was the other tangible benefit we could do. Now, of course, you can still use it as a normal power head. Let me just put this little thingy on right here. What am I doing wrong here? So also you have this strainer. Another question has been asked, and I have not gone over it 100%, but what size intake sponge can you use? I highly recommend you adapt a large to this, which a large is going to be a little bit too large and loose. Use a sponge filter because it's made to do that. The medium, if you put that on there, is going to be a struggle. It's not going to be a struggle. It's going to, the hole is smaller, and so it's going to jam all the pores, and it's going to make it less than ideal than you want. So, yeah. Where is, I gotta be like missing a little piece or something, because this, probably in the side of my chair. The little bracket thing is not here. Let me put this. Mental note, when you're going to demonstrate something, make sure you have all the pieces easily accessible. I took it out. It could be in the car. I was playing with it, and now... Anyway, suction cups. They slide right back here. I don't know where my little bracket is though. We'll move on. Long cord. Again, take this piece off. There you go. Now you're set. Super long cord. And they're 20 bucks. So we want to keep the price down as well. Where is my piece? I'm perturbed that I don't have my piece. Oh, the output tube can be disassembled for the cleaning the impeller. Yeah, I guess I glossed over that. I assume most people have have used one before, and thus you can take that apart, service your impeller. Is it 110 volt or 220 as well? Let me see if it says that. I only ever worry about 110. I don't know. Does it say it here? It says 120 volt. I never test 220. Let me see. I want this to work. Why is this not working for me? Oh, good Lord. I've done these way too many. It goes right here. So the whole problem, I need to do a little thing because I've tested so many versions of this that I forgot which one we went with. So you see it right here? I was trying to do this. I thought a piece made it in between because there was a version that was like that. No, you just spin it this way and now it's good. Did I mention I was tired at the beginning of the stream? Yes, I'm tired. All right. Oh no, I'm wrapped up in my microphone. I don't want to lose sound, so. Oh no. All right, we're free. We're free. So yes, Powerhead, sponge filter, check. Next up, we've got the Aquariumcoop Powerheads. Powerheads? Man, I really need to get more rest. Nets is what I was trying to say. So we've got this dainty nano size that can lift a truck. We've got the typical small aquarium net that most people get with like a 10-gallon aquarium that's, you know, nifty. Then you've got the, I'm going to chase fish around in my, you know, like my 30-gallon or my 55. And then you've got the, I'm not messing around anymore, get in the net and go to bed. And that's this bad boy. So we can take one of these out. And they're all going to work the same, which is by design. So the hand, or the actual, why am I out of focus here? Like focus on my face. I don't know why. Is it focusing on me at all? I don't know. Anyway, might be out of focus, might be tired. This shaft for the handle is made out of carbon fiber, so it's super duper, like doesn't flex at all. Like it's rigid. Now, the actual net itself is plastic, so you've got a little bit of give there. And you've got a box net. So that means it makes kind of these corners. You've got the boxy part of it to trap stuff in and kind of, you know, look at it against the glass or lift it out. And so they're less likely to hop out. To put it together, you've got this kind of, I guess, this fitting where as you tighten it down, it cinches down. So you put this in like that. Now the trick in here, there is a trick because you can break them if you're just like, if you snap it, like that's going to be a problem. But you just push it in, you tighten it up. You got the handle on the other side. Now, someone did say they wanted a different hole in the handle. They do make command hooks with like the little metal piece for like Christmas lights stuff. That's what I used. So, but then this side just goes right here. And now you have this wieldy net. Now, some people said, hey, I want it to be longer. Do know that the longer this gets, the harder it is to catch fish and the like less dexterous you're going to be. So I had to make educated, what size nets do I want that makes sense in a 55, that makes sense in a 40, you know, all of that, right? I like to be, so it's a coarser mesh so you can get through the water faster if you need to. And then also, I like it to be able to kind of have my hand in it like a 55. It's right at the top of the water. I guide some fish in, and that's all the way through at the bottom. But if you've got a net with or if you've got a tank with a canopy, or like the store where it's got stuff up above, like you can't get the net back out. So we didn't want to go way too long. Whereas like this little guy for catching shrimp and stuff. Which this is the most industrial strength shrimp net and little things that has ever existed. Ooh. There you go. Look at that adorable little, I mean, this thing is stout. You can at least you can move a 5-pound shrimp with this, no doubt. Look at that box net and everything. Boom. Holds its shape. Again, this is a net. So how many ways were there to actually improve a net? Nothing game breaking. There's only so many little tweaks you can do. You know, I wanted it so that it had a strong thing or a strong handle. I wanted to make sure it wouldn't rust. So there's no metal. It's all plastic, carbon fiber, right? I wanted a coarser mesh. I wanted the box style to it. And it had to be able to ship it, right? Because a net fully splayed out, you have to charge a lot of money to ship it to you. So the fact that we can get them down into little packages like this, right? Now we can fit these in our shipping boxes next to plants and all the other stuff, and we don't have to charge you absurd amounts of money. Now, are these more expensive than super cheap metal nets? Yes. We could have, like, you can get those so cheap, but I want these to last. Here's what I want to have happen. I want this to fail, because every product always fails eventually, right? I want it to fail when you've rubbed it against glass and gravel so many times from catching fish day in and day out for years that the net starts to fray. I don't want the rust to get to it. I don't want the plastic enamel to start coming off. I don't want any of that. I want it so that you've used this, like, I think it's like a $6 or $7 net. You've used it so many times that you've worn through it. A product that you wear through, you know, that shirt that now is see-through that you've worn for the past 20 years was the best $14 you ever spent, right? Same thing. I want that wear, like, okay, yeah, I used it so much that eventually wore through. That makes it worth buying a new one. So all the other parts will last. Yeah, if you snap this thing by stepping on it or, you know, hit the wall, this plastic part's probably going to break. That we can't make that bulletproof. We actually did look into lots of metal nets, but they would always kind of rust out over time. You've seen a lot of the telescoping net Flueball makes. They just rust over time when the water gets in there. So we wanted a fully kind of non-water reactive net, and so that's what we did. So make sure you buy all of those new net sizes. You know, you might not need king net, maybe you need baby net, right? You can get a whole set of them or whatever, but the nets I use the most are actually this size, so the medium, and I use the small. Now, if I had nano tanks, I'd use definitely the smaller one. I've used it for shrimp. This big one, I've used it in some of the totes, but I actually prefer the medium. That's just a personal preference, you know, tool to trade type of thing. I've used a net this size for so many years in a fish store that it's an extension of my own arm at this point. So, yeah, so those are the new products. We've got more on the way if they ever will get shipped over. So, yeah. I'm trying to think. Then, yeah, no, I think we have a new product coming on the next one, and then the one after, I think also. It's getting, the timeline's all wonky at this point. What do I think the most common size that'll be sold? That never happens the way I want it to. Like, I think everyone should only ever buy medium sponge filters, but so many people buy the large ones. And the large ones work, but I run my whole store and my fish room on the mediums. And if I was only to carry one, I'd only carry the medium. But we sell about every size equally. And so with these nets, I actually think the small is going to be the best seller because it'll be a, where'd it go? I think I dropped it on the ground. Yeah. I think people are going to buy this because it'll be a little bit cheaper. You know, you're going to save a couple of bucks. You're like, yeah, that'll work. And so people on a big scale, right? Like maybe not you guys in the live stream, but on a big scale will, you know, choose this because it's cheaper. So, but I think we'll sell a fair amount of all of them. And I think you can see patterns like someone will buy this and they'll be like, oh, that's a little smaller than I think I needed. And then they buy the medium one. So you can see those kind of shopping patterns too, which is very, very common in consumer spending where it's like, oh, I'll go on the cheaper. Hey, it's good quality, but you know what? I want that bigger one. Then they end up buying two instead of one. I didn't even take the, you think I'm tired? I didn't even take the cap off this. It's also date night tonight. Trying to hang out with the wife. We'll see if I even stay awake. Are the nets in the store yet? I don't know 100%. Maybe Candy knows. If everything lined up the way it was supposed to, they came in last week, they would have moved on a Thursday, been ready for sale on a Friday, they should be. We unloaded 2 cargo containers last week. It was nutty. 2 40-foot containers. It is stuffed to the gills at this point. We're, you know, timelines didn't line up and we're trying to put in more cargo containers for storage. And like today, the forklift got stuck because they had to do some drainage work. They put new rock down, they compacted it all, and then the forklift drove over and got stuck. Had to get that out. It's been a long day. Spent the whole day looking at warehouses today. Started at 10 a.m., got back here at 4 p.m., started prepping for the live stream. So, you know, I don't know when we're moving a warehouse, but we're getting steps closer. The Powerhead is a little too strong for a 20-gallon. I'm trying a mod to restrict the outflow in my 20 long. One of the mods you can do that'll be ugly is put a sponge on the outflow. Put a sponge right here, like a medium sponge. Boom. You could put a little mini sponge right there. So that's one of the mods you could do. Now this is another mod that do it at your own discretion. Don't cite this live stream and be like, Corey said to go do this and you'd give me $1 million if I screwed it up. That's not what I'm saying. One of the other things you can do, which will void your warranty and all of that kind of stuff, is you could modify the impeller. Which there's lots of lubricant here to make sure it doesn't rust. The way you would modify an impeller, how much water that's being moved is 2 processes. One is how much power. 2 is how big are these fins. You could cut the fin down by like 1 millimeter on each side. That would reduce flow. Chances are, though, you are not a wizard and will pull this off perfectly, and you will cut one of them slightly longer, one slightly shorter than another one. And over a long period of time, that will cause a little bit of uneven wear. So you might only get 7 years out of this Powerhead instead of 8.2 from someone who never modified it, or whatever that's going to look like long term. So you could do that, but if you obliterate this thing, that's not on us. That means you messed up and you got to buy another $20 Powerhead. Those are the ways in which you could adjust that flow here, though. So there you go. Alrighty. Let's see. Alexander bought one of each set, one of each size. The smallest one was cracked on arrival, where the net connects to the handle. The smaller insert of the net's plastic cracked the outer T handle as it inserts in. Let me find, what size did you buy? It was the smallest one, the Nano. Yeah, like I said, you got to be a little bit careful. Like, we can definitely send you out another one. We did many people that didn't know these nets. We had them just keep installing them, like try it out. And we did have some people that would break it, but they, like, it was very, I think it was 2 people did it out of all the testing. And it's if you stress it this way, like it's just a push in, like, I think some people try to push it in way too much. So, like, even if you only just barely put it in, the net's still going to work. And then you push it in, and you can keep trying to like push it in and push it. It only goes so far, but you can keep pushing, pushing, pushing. And then if you put too much tension on that net, you're going to snap it. So that being said, we did order like 4,000 of each net, and maybe you got a lemon, right? We want to take care of that if you did. Either way, we'll take care of you because the information's not out there. But yeah, once it's there, though, that thing makes a cool sound. I don't know if you can hear it. All right. Spin the impeller in a drill on a piece of 80 grit sandpaper. On paper, that sounds perfect. In practice, I feel like I would screw that up. Why black and not Aquariumcoop green? I don't know 100%. I think it was because green was going to cost a lot more for green carbon fiber. Also, black just made sense to me. Like nets get really dirty. I prefer black, but we so rarely can buy black. It's usually green or white. What size hose should I use on the Powerhead if I want to change water? I don't know. Probably 5/8. I tested it on the one that I have right here, and it was I used 5/8 hose. But off the top of my head, I don't know if that's 5/8 inner diameter or outer diameter. Basically, if you have a hose that's roughly even close, you can heat up the end with some boiling water, put it on there, put your fitting to get on there, and boom, you'll be good to go. That's in the, I'll get around to it. I'll test all the different sizes that make sense and tell you, like, you could buy it at Home Depot type of deal. But I know when I tested on the stuff that I had around, it wasn't that hard. And if I wasn't like strapped in with this microphone, I'd run over there and probably grab a piece and go, see? Boom. Would there be a reason why my 12 cardinal tetras aren't schooling? They congregate around the sponge filter in a 40 breeder, temperature is 78 degrees, and water parameters are normal. So schooling behavior is usually, like a fear, like, oh, we're moving because something's going to attack us or whatever, right? So if they're just hanging out, they probably just feel good. And so they're not worried about running from something. So you probably just have happy tetras. You could put in a fish to kind of move them around, like maybe a red-tailed shark or a rainbow shark, something like that might cause them to move around. But, I think you've got, a reasonably good pack of fish there. How do you sanitize fish nets? We've got a whole long video that we did way back in the day about that. There's a bunch of different ways. I personally like to use hot water and then air dry. But there are merits to really high-end, high salinity salts. There's merits to hydrogen peroxide. There's merits to a lot of things. I like rinsing because that's getting a lot of algae and other debris out while you're actually physically rinsing in a sink. The hot water and the chlorine helps fight off a lot. And then letting it set dry all the way will fight off a lot of illnesses and anything that could have made it through all of that, in my experience. And that's worked really well for me for many, many years. Now, does that mean something's never transferred? No, something probably has. I just didn't know it. And nothing is 100%. Like with the salt method, you get a bunch of salt everywhere. With net dips, that purple gets everywhere. Like there's a downside to each one. Although, if there wasn't, I would just tell you, oh, this is the way to do it, and there's no downside. But each one had its own, that's not optimal either. So the one that works the best for me, though, is hot water under a sink, air drying, relatively not messy, fairly safe, worked well for me. So your large intake sponge won't work with the new Powerheads. I just ordered 2 for the 2 Powerheads. It's not that they won't work, it's that they're not designed to do that. And I realize that sounds like I just said, like, where's the other piece that I'm looking for? So for instance, we're about to start the concept of what we think a good hang-on back filter would look like, right? And so if I'm using just the intake part of that design process, if we have an intake, pretend it's on a hang-on back or this power head, and you put a sponge on it, right? The sponge would physically fit. The problem is there's no friction here to keep it from falling off, right? So you need like a lip piece here, right? So if you had a lip, like, oh, it grabbed on, but there's more. Because what happens if in production that lip piece is a little bit sharp? Now when you went to use it, did you cut yourself, right? Maybe it needs to be rubber. But over time, rubber gets brittle. Do we need to include silicone, right? And so we wanted to get something that fit the sponge filter perfectly, right? But you can adapt to different intakes if you put in the work, right? You see how this like holds on? That's because it's got all these ridges to do that. And so you're going to end up with a situation like this with the large intake sponge where, well, let me get it set up. So you're going to have something like this where that large intake would fit, but it's going to be a little bit like, oh, that could come off, right? So then you need to put basically a piece of like vinyl tubing or something that's going to grip this part. Now, obviously, it would be a large intake, and this part would be done over here. You could use rubber bands. That'll last for a month or two until they fall off, right? But you're going to need a little bit of modification to make it work that way because it's specifically designed to be a perfect fit for this, right? And then, boom, there you go. So it's just one of those, it's hard to design something to be perfect for multiple products without just creating extra pieces and all of that. You know, you could, in a pinch, you could probably take a sponge filter, part of it, and with that one end capped, like, you see how much better this holds? Like, it holds way better because this is meant to do that. Whereas this piece is just meant to be a strainer, so when you're pumping water or anything like that, like, see if that comes right off. Like, it's, so just that friction is the difference in when you're building something. And so that's why we're thinking about, well, do we want our hang-on backs that we build someday, will it 100% made up with our own things? So yeah. Put some Velcro on the large end, that could probably work. You could probably do a couple of zip ties on that, would probably work too. There's a few ways, you just need some friction, so. All right, would the pump draw hard enough to keep it on? I don't think so. It would have to get clogged a little bit to really hold it on. And then if it got bumped and you're sucking up a fish, like, I'm not comfortable. I want something to physically help there and not just rely. Because what if it was suction, power goes out, falls off? Power comes on, sucks up a fish, right? Like, there's so many, you have to go, how am I going to break this? How am I going to keep someone else from breaking it? How am I going to make this foolproof? That's the way I have to think and go, oh, that's a way you could do it. What would cause KH and pH to drop simultaneously? Catherine, they're directly proportional. So a pH crash happens when you run out of KH, which is buffer, right? So if you have 100 buffer in the tank, pH stays stable. But when you run out of buffer, now, well, let me go back a few steps. You've got 100 KH and 7.0 pH. You've put some fish food in the tank, they eat it, they go poop, and then it gets processed by bacteria. Now maybe you have 98 KH left. You do that every day, and pretty soon you're at 20 KH. Now you're down at 2 KH. Now you're down at 0 KH. Well, what happens when you run out of KH and you feed? Well, you feed a little bit, and now that your pH was 7.0 is now 6.98. You feed again tomorrow, now it's 6.96, right? And over time, that now is crashing as well because you've ran out of the buffer, which was the KH. So that's where what could cause that? Feeding, rotting things in the tank. Like, you could have a rotting fish, but just driftwood causes that. Flue ball stratum, ADA, soils, all that kind of stuff that's rotting and creating nutrients also will be broken down by bacteria. And the byproduct of that will be acids. So when bacteria is processing stuff, it makes acids, and those acids slowly drop pH over time. Can you give your opinion on the Fluval COB Nanolight? I'm looking at for a 5-gallon tank. Already own the ridiculous amount of lights, but I enjoy experimenting with the new products. I haven't played with that light in a long time. I remember deciding not to carry it, but I don't remember all the pros and cons of that specific light. They really want us to carry it. I remember that, but I was like, how is this? I don't know if the price was close enough to the Nano Fluval 3.0 or what the problem was. Let me see if I can Google it to refresh my why I didn't like that. I won't bring it up on screen because that's what crashed us last time. Yeah, I see the light. Maybe it was the mounting mechanism. Isn't the mounting mechanism literally a sticker on the back? Let me see this. Nope, it's not. It's got a little clampy thing. So that probably is one of the steps. I don't like any light that can't mount to a standard tank. So if you walked into a Petco and bought a rimmed 5-gallon tank, this light wouldn't mount to it. It only mounts to rimless tanks. So I don't like that aspect of it. I want them to be able to go to a rim tank as well without having to modify. How much is this light on Amazon? It is, well, here you go, $79. For $10 more, you can get like the Fluval Nano light, which I think is leagues better. But that's just me. All right. I've got that light, grows well, but it's too blue for me. I think they're trying to, a lot of lights do this. They want to cater to saltwater and freshwater at the same time. Like, we'll have one light, we'll sell it to everybody. And then you kind of get that middle of the road. A lot of the blue in the lights make neon tetras and stuff look really good, and saltwater fish look really good, but they can also help promote algae, and you might not want that blue of a look. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I actually like having a little more blue, personally. What's my opinion on the Higger products? I think it's hit or miss. They've got some that are good, and they've got some that are bad. From what I can tell from researching, they have a shotgun approach of, how about we sell all of the things, and then we'll just keep selling the ones that do well. And so you get products that seemingly have a very good reputation and probably are really good, and then they've got quite a few SKUs that seem to be really bad as well. And so from a brand standpoint, I'd be weary of going like, I like Higger or I dislike Higger style products. Instead, I think you'd have to be very precision and be like, this specific product I like, this specific product I don't like. And from a brand standpoint, that's a very dangerous spot to be of like, oh, this product's great from that brand, but that product will kill your fish. Like, that's a spot you don't want to be. And so I think they could still, I don't want to say salvage it, but they could streamline their operations and do a little more testing. And, like from heaters, they have like, I don't know, at least 6 or 7 different ones, which just seems weird. Like, you're just selling all of them instead of focusing and figuring out which ones are doing really well. So, but no, every company, if you've heard me talk about companies in the past, usually a company will do something really well. Maybe with Tetra, it was fish food or a filter, or maybe with Fluval, it was their canister filters and the aqua clears. But eventually they always go, well, now that we're doing well and we're making money, let's expand into other avenues that maybe we shouldn't be. If if Extreme Fish Food is making good money, that doesn't mean they should launch an air pump. Right? Like, well, but you don't know anything about air pumps. You know about fish food, right? And so I think bigger corporations, and we're almost guilty of it too, right? We're like, well, what do you know about nets? Like, I've used a lot, right? And so I'm very cautious with expanding into like, we're not going to do saltwater. We're not going to get out of the lane too much because we'll start losing my focus of, I've used a net basically every day for 15 years, but if I needed to design, I'm trying to think of like let's say I need to design a bristle worm catching trap for a saltwater tank. I know what they are, I know how they roughly work, but I've only used them like once ever. I am not a good candidate to go, I could make this product better, or even evaluate, is this the best one to buy? So I that's where, you know, I see some of these companies, it's like, I don't know, I feel like you should be doing more product testing because that's a real obvious, to me, one of the biggest telltale signs of a company is when you launch a bunch of products that don't work in America. Like that hang-on back filter doesn't fit rimmed tanks. That'll never do well. There's not enough rimless tanks in the market, right? Now, it's one thing if you have both models and both options, but you know, to completely gloss over that and be like, well, it did well in Europe and it does well over here and does well over here. Like, yeah, you just don't know our market. So, all right. Heaters are crucial. I wouldn't cheap out with a Higger heater. Some of them have really good reviews. You know, and this is a good segue, by the way. Like Randy and I were driving to warehouses and we're still going back and forth on a heater. We've got one that we like. You know, we like it quite a bit. It's the heater. So we're basically like, no joke, we're probably 20 manufacturer heaters deep. Meaning that we've tried 20 different manufacturers. And we've got this one that we really do like. It's still the best one out of all of these. The problem is, it's not perfect. And so, well, it's pretty good though. We're on this like, we could probably bring this to market. Like, we really like it. Dean really likes it. Like, should we, shouldn't we? And then we have we should really like try it for 2 or 3 years to see is it going to burn out. And so we're trying to figure out, do we bring it in like a brown box and be 100% transparent and be like, look, either A, you could wait for 3 years and we'll let you know, does it pass the 3-year test? Or B, you can go, Aquariumcoop's been working on this for 2 years already. This is the best they found. I can buy it today knowing Aquariumcoop would make it right if, you know, like we replace it if it failed. However, if it kills all your fish, we're not liable for that. 2, we're fully transparent in knowing that we're still testing this to see, will it uphold at least 3 years? Is it super duper reliable beyond our testing right now? So the option is, don't show you guys for 3 years, or show you guys maybe 6 months from now with all the disclaimers of like, we still don't have a 3-year test on this. So all of them could explode into infinity 17 months in. But we can't know that until we've actually done the testing that long. And so, you know, we go back and forth of like, if they don't work out, we're going to look really dumb. If they do work out, we're going to look great. And I haven't decided yet of like, oof, do we, don't we? It's still the best one. So I don't know. We'll try to make a decision on that. Maybe you guys chime in if you would buy one, right? Tell me if you would go, I understand the risks. I understand that I'm kind of a guinea pig here. I understand that you guys think it's the best one you found to date, and you've only been, you know, testing it for like 8 months at this point, right? And you're willing to take some of that risk on, which I believe you're taking that risk on with every other heater, by the way. I don't think Fluval and Higger and Eheim and all these other companies are putting 3 years worth of, let's test it before we start selling it. It's more like, you know, when you sell a car, like, put out the new car, like, oh, we'll do recalls, you know. So, yeah, it kind of is like a beta test program, but it would be really hard to manage. So the best thing we could do is sell a heater, and then we would say that, like, we'd put X amount of warranty on it, right? Like, maybe we say, like, we'll guarantee these for 2 years, whatever it is. And if it goes bad, we'll give you your money back or a new one, right? And then after we have that 2 and 3 year studies and we see how many failed and we track it and do all this, then we might go, okay, we're branding it Aquarium Co-op. We're going to warranty it for X amount of years. It's this price point. All of this said and done, boom. So that's, you know, that's where because that's the other thing too. Like, imagine we sell crazy amount of these heaters and we sell them too cheap and we give them too good of a warranty and they're all breaking at year 3. And we sold $200,000 of these heaters and we lose $200,000. So we're actually out like $100,000. Like, that would be catastrophic for us. So we need to go, well, how do we test on a massive scale and be transparent with our customers and not just be like, well, let's just see how it goes. Are we working on an auto doser for fertilizer? I want to. I haven't done it yet because I can find the physical hardware that we want to use, but we need a good app developer. That's something else I want to work on. If I can get more than like 12 minutes of sleep, I might have the bandwidth to start. I want an app that could control something like an auto doser. It would give you alerts from YouTube. It would, blog articles, newsletters. I want it to be all-inclusive aquarium co-op. Like, yeah, that's how you set this. That's how you're going to do this. That's how you're going to do that, right? When will the new Aquarium Co-op light be available? Never! We are being super picky about it, and we've determined that once we had, so if you've been listening to Saga, we now have 4-foot lights, right? The 4-foot lights over time, because they're super thin, over time, they deflect, so meaning that they sag a little bit by 1/8 of an inch. So we want to increase the thickness of the aluminum housing, which means we have to pull a new mold, which means we have to wait for more samples, which means we're delaying it by another 6 weeks at least. So, when is it coming? When it's ready. When's it ready? When we stop finding little things to nitpick and we have the best light on the market. That being said, hopefully soon. I mean, I'm using them. There's those lights up there, right? I could probably do this on the fly. I can show you the lights. There's 2 4-foot lights on. Oh yeah, someone was asking about my recliner. My wife texted me 38 minutes ago. This is an IMG Comfort Boss Power Recliner. So that's what that thing's called. But let me turn off those lights on the 800 gallon above it so you can see what 2 of the 4-footers look like. Should be these. So that is 2 4-foot lights. Now, if you remember back in the old room, I ran 4 Fluval lights, and it would have been brighter than that, right? So they basically are the same par as like a Fluval light. So the same amount of light comes out of them. But we should be able to have them be dramatically cheaper, which I think everyone can be like, that would be nice, because $200+ 4-foot lights is brutal. Like, that's not what I got into when I started selling them. They were less than $200, all of that stuff, and then tariffs and shipping and price increases. By the way, we're trying really, really hard not to increase prices. It's getting really hard though. At some point, I'm sure I'll be telling you guys, like, look, we had to raise prices almost across the board by X%. Like, even just our cardboard boxes, we got told last week or this week that cardboard boxes prices are going up 18%. And so you get that, and you get shipping price. The cargo container went from $3,000 to $18,000. We have to fly frozen products over. Like, we're eventually just gonna have to go, look, we're not, like, no more money will fit my pocket. It will just be purely, we can't lose the money because of these things. So we don't want to go. You have 2 options in business. You can charge more. You have 3 options. You can charge more. You can charge the same amount and reduce quality, or you can improve process to save money. We have already gone 10,000% on improve process, save money, streamline, be as efficient as possible. So that only leaves us the 2 options. And that is raise the pricing minimally to cover the bare minimums that we can, or reduce quality to make up that delta. And that's why we've watched candy bars, right? From when we were a kid, they're just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until a point where they started raising the price from 50 cents, 55 cents, 65 cents, 85 cents, right? We've watched that play out in candy bars growing up. And so I don't want to reduce the size and all of that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, and then the next step's going to have to raise the price. I want to keep that quality high. And if we got to go, well, you know what? It's going to cost a couple more. It shouldn't be big. Like, if you place a $50 order, honestly, it would probably be like, oh, it's going to cost you $52 now to get the same quality, which never sounds amazing, because you're like, I'm paying more for what I got a year ago. Trust me, we all want to go back to that time, but that's where we're at. Can I tell you the par rating? Not off the top of my head. I've made videos and that kind of stuff just to document it, but par based on how tall or deep an aquarium is, will change the par value. So right here, it might be 500 par, but here now it's 100 par. So no truer words have ever been said. Fun-sized bars are no fun. That's right. Yeah, every single thing is going up. That is because it affects the most simple thing. Even transit has gone up. So even if this bottle cap didn't cost any more to produce, to go from here to the bottling plant got more expensive. And most companies would just never tell you and just be like, hey, stuff changed. Like either shipping will go up or free threshold will go up or the price of the product will go up or the quality of service will go down. When you go, hey, so the difference would be, that person that had this cracked one and they said, oh, don't even worry about it. We would just leave it at that and go, okay, well, we're not going to worry about it. But we want to send that person a new net. It's going to cost us $10 to ship them that net, but we want you guys to always have a good experience. That is our goal. And if we don't increase the price on a sponge filter from, let's say it's $9.99 to now it's got to be $10.13, then we have to start making decisions going, well, we can't really afford to do that anymore. Well, we can't side, just make it right for the customer because we're losing money on brine shrimp eggs right now. We have to do some of these things so that collectively, if you all pay $1 more on brine shrimp eggs, when 3 out of 100 of you get it stolen off your porch, we can just go, you know what? We got you. Ship them another one. Instead of going, well, file the police report and then good luck. We really try to take care of you and just make it no hassle, least amount of stress possible for both parties, everyone involved. And I will say this. If pricing goes down, I have and will reduce prices. I've done that in the past. You've seen prices go up and go down. And if we can get a big savings going, we will definitely look at Easy Green. Easy Green's our number one product in my eyes. We sell you twice as much as we did last year for $5 more. So it went from 15 to 20, but you get twice as much product. I am in the hobbyist camp. As long as we remain profitable, I will do what I can that makes sense, because it could be like, why don't you sell 40 gallons for the price of, this? Like, well, obviously we'd be losing money, right? There's only so much we can do. And when we fit like, oh, it's going to work out perfect, then we do it. All right. I mean, here's another good example. I'll give you another good example with this. The make it right. So here I've got root tabs. These root tabs, we found a few customers said, hey, the capsule inside is not correct. What had happened, so I was talking about it today, we had a whole meeting on it. What had happened is they sat in the hot sun on the tar mat at a manufacturer for a little too long. It caused some condensation in here. Now, we have something like 5,000 of these. And we've pulled them all from the market because of this, because they're not perfect. So I'm going to see if I can show you on camera. Like, here they are. They're like, I brought some home because I'm going to use them. They're fine, but they're not perfect. So if you can see the little bit of pitting on this capsule here, let's see if it'll block my face out. Come on. Come on. Do this. Stop focusing on Aquarium Co-op. Of course, it's never going to focus. That would be way too convenient. Focus. Not on my face. It's got eye tracking is the problem. I'll never focus. Anyway, there are the tiniest flaws on this capsule, right? But that's not the way we produce them, and it's not perfect. So we've had new ones run and all of that. Now, this is a situation where if profit margins were too razor thin, we would just go, you know what, we have to look the other way on this. We have to go, you know what, we got to sell them. Like, we can't afford to take the loss. And instead, we're going to take the loss on this. Well, we're actually working with the manufacturer. So here's what the goal is. The goal is, manufacturer's going to take these back. They're going to go through all the capsules, see which ones might have any problems. Then they're going to take the caps off, so this part that gets closed on, reapply new caps, right? I believe this comes off. And reuse as many parts as I can. So there you go. That's, we thought about selling them at a discount and things like that, but we'd still have to like, go through each one. This one had more that we were emptying them out. We were spot checking as many we could, and they were all pretty much, they were all fine. If you had not seen absolutely perfect ones, you wouldn't know these ones weren't perfect. But, and I'm sure there were some that were in worse condition, because there's probably those 3 customers right now going, hey, mine were pretty melty because they got wet. I believe that to be happening, and that's why we didn't want like, oh, ship it out and like some mush shows up, right? So we also care about our reputation. We realize that they're not 100% just getting destroyed or anything like that. We're gonna utilize them. We'll try to, I said, hey, can we do these at the retail store? And they're like, well, the manufacturer wants them back. They're gonna make it right. They want to look at what went wrong and how, going forward, how do we prevent this, right? So one, they're not going to let them be out in the heat. We had a really hot summer, so that was a problem there, right? They learned a lesson there. And two, they're going to add in the, desiccant, little moisture absorbers into each of these now. So in theory, we've identified a problem, very low percentage. We now have, basically decommissioned 4,000 of them. And then we've got the fix that's going into the new ones. And all that will be fixed here fairly soon. So that's that full transparency that, hey, if you guys kick in that extra, few cents and all that, then we can afford just to make it right when we need to, instead of, well, we can't take this loss right now. Members only clearance page, that could be a thing, possibly. I've definitely have talked about a scratch and dent, a clearance page, maybe. And then also, we're still working on the members only discount. Trust me when I tell you, I've been working very hard and been very disappointed between YouTube and developers to get this done. I literally have, is it in here? Where's my card? Oh, right here. So we literally have this card right here. I had $1,000 of these printed. Now you notice, here's Eric Thomas, August 21st. We've gone past that date, Corey. I know. Here's September 18th. Here's October 16th. Why haven't these been sending out, Corey? Oh, that's because right here it says members also receive 5% off at aquariumcoop.com, except that has not been green-lighted by YouTube yet. So I don't want someone to be like, oh, I'm going to become a member, and then not get a discount and be super angry with us. So time is ticking. We've already missed one. We got 11 days till the second one. And then hopefully, I want to be able to use it, because we printed $1,000 worth of these cards to put in orders and ship them out. So hopefully it'll come through. But I brought one of these home to kind of show the developers, like, you're costing us money. Like, make sure you're responding to YouTube as fast as possible. Let's get this going. I look like a fool here. I've got Zenzo waiting on it. I've got stuff that's been printed. You guys are waiting on it. I've got other projects waiting on this to go live. We're all waiting on one integration. So, yeah. Ship internationally? Well, when we get a new, bigger warehouse, that becomes more of an option. We're working on that, though. When a fish is not responding to medication after using the trio and trying other meds, as well as keeping water and parameters clear, what do you do? When I hit that point, Ryan, it's a sad point, because I know, like, wow, it's beaten everything I've thrown at it. I typically go to 1 tablespoon of salt per gallon of water and just let it marinate in that for weeks and weeks and weeks. Maybe 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever it is. Like, that amount of salt will cure a lot of things externally. If it's something internal, we got to go with a different plan. But salt on that high concentration, it can kill a fish, but also can kill a lot of parasites and diseases. So that's where I go when I've thrown the whole medicine cabinet at it and I cannot figure it out, because that's that last Hail Mary, and probably half the time they pull out of it. Like, wow, okay, I should have done that from the beginning. Yeah, $1,000 piece of artwork. I mean, it is. I really think that Lizzie did really good. So Lizzie and Zenzo put together the copy and the thumbnail design that we're doing for the videos and the postcards. And I really like this style of, letting you guys know, basically. And so that way you'll see like, oh yeah. And hopefully you put that on the refrigerator and you go, oh yeah, I can't forget, September 18th, Tom Barr, Joe Cutler. Oh yeah, I really want to see them talking about, knife fish and elephant nose and that kind of stuff. Gotta remember. Yeah, I mean, these things aren't cheap. These are nice postcards that are glossy, and they're meant to do a specific job, and that is to show you some of the benefits of becoming a member, and then also reminding you when you're going to see really cool talks, which, by the way, so far, I say we're 2 for 2 with really good member talks. Obviously, I'm biased, but I learned quite a bit with both talks, and that's my goal. My goal is to be the super nerdy side of and actually learn and become educated, and not so much entertainment value, because I feel like we've got 1,000,000,001 YouTube videos we can all pull up on YouTube and be entertained. But, to get a professor speaking on a subject, both of them are teachers. And, not everyone is going to be a teacher or have a doctorate and that kind of thing. But the fact that they deliver information that has been tested and methodical and all of that, much more than me, right? Because I'm like, hey, I touched that thing, it did this. There's my firsthand experience, where they get teams of people to replicate things and really tease some of that stuff out that a hobbyist like us is never going to do, honestly. And so, yeah, I think they're really cool. Even, for me personally, it's worth it to me. I look at this program as $5 a month. I get to watch an hour-and-a-half thing. To me, that's like going to a matinee movie for $5. Like, once a month. And if anything else happens, I'm like, hey, I'm okay with that. Now I'm trying to deliver more with discounts and other things. They take time to develop. But even right now, I'm like, hey, I think that's a worthy $5 thing. Not everyone agrees. Everyone spends their own money how they wish. But for me, Eric Thomas talk, milkshake. I'll take the talk, right? So to me, it's like, oh, you skipped one coffee or one thing, and yeah, you're going to learn. I like that. All right. Why Fritz Complete over Prime? Honestly, if I am able to sell the Complete with a pump head on it, and I like the pump head. They're essentially the same product, except we have a good working relationship with Fritz, and not so much with CChem. CChem doesn't really care about us at all. So, when you have favor with one company going, hey, yeah, I like working with you guys. Oh, we'll put the pump head on it. That makes sense. Versus, oh, you don't even want to work with us. You only care about Petco, PetSmart. You'll get reps that'll literally, when you get them away from their companies, and I'm not saying that CChem did this, but some companies will literally go, look, my company doesn't care about you. We're selling to Walmarts, Fred Meyers, big box chains where their minimum order is going to be 70 pallets of stuff to their warehouse and distribute it. Like, we honestly just don't care about you. And I like that, because then I know, like, I'm not wasting my time and all of that. But then, and CChem is a company that wants their products to sit on Amazon. They sell directly. They want them in Petco's and PetSmarts, and they don't care about pricing at all, and if people are selling at a loss, so long as they get their money when it leaves the manufacturer. So it makes it really hard to work with someone and do meaningful things when they don't care. It's kind of like if I sell you this cave, if I don't care if your Pleco ever spawned or was happy or that you were happy as a customer, that's not a great relationship. I should, after selling this to you, want you to be successful and enjoy it. But there's some companies that don't care. They go, hey, the person bought it. That's our part of the bargain. We're done. And so they're really hard to pair with when something goes wrong, though, and they're like, well, they bought it, didn't they? Well, yes, they did, but this problem, did they return it? Well, no. Oh, but, if it ain't broke, we're not going to fix it. Like, ooh, that's a weird spot to be. All right. I love love them both. I guess you're talking about the talks. We'll be moving Cory cats soon. I'm grateful I've learned the awesome tips to make it safe for them. Yeah. I learned a lot more in that, like, people talk about it. I've never witnessed that corridor poisoning, and now I kind of know why. It's only a few species, and you really got to agitate them. And so I definitely learned quite a bit of, like, okay, I don't know that it's directly applicable to our hobby, but useful. So Ryan, where did that go? Ryan says Prime is better than Fritz Complete, in my opinion. Well, in my opinion, knowing that they're one molecule different, as in they're essentially the same exact product, those kind of statements always make me laugh. Of like, all right, you know, because it's like, oh, we know that chemically they're the same thing. You know, they're not the same thing in that, like if I take a Diet Coke, I don't even know where that went. I think I put it on the floor, right? And one molecule of something else goes in there. Now it's a different brand. It's like, oh no, it's just Diet Coke. No. It has a molecule of something else in it, so it's different. Yeah, I don't mind some CChem products, but others I find to be way overpriced. Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, a lot of these corporations are playing a worldwide game. So there's times with like API where they don't really care about growing in America right now because they're growing gangbusters in India, right? They're going, we're making so much money over here, and oh, the Americans are just being whiny? Don't even worry about it. Just keep selling to Amazon, right? That's basically their take. And I can't 100% fault them. They're making money hand over fist over in a different country. So, hey. Why am I paying $6.99 for membership when you just said $4.99? Because if you're in America and you signed up through an Apple device like my iPhone, if I was to sign up right now for my channel on an iPhone, iPhones charge 30%, right? 30% basically comes to $6.99. Now, if you go to a desktop computer like I'm on, or you go to like Chrome browser and log in the hard way, not through the app, but you go in through the hard way and you subscribe there, it'll only cost you $4.99 because Apple doesn't get its cut. And we've got, I can't show you because I don't want to crash the stream, but we have that on our website on how to exactly save yourself a couple of bucks every month. So someone says Apple Store is evil. They're not any more evil than Chrome. Or I mean, than Google, except Google owns YouTube. Google does the same types of cuts. It's well known that apps have to pay a percentage and all of that. It's just the cost of doing business and vetting apps and all of that. That being said, you still have a free way to go and do it. Like me personally, you know, Apple is so greedy. What you need to understand about the world. Here we go. I'm going to make this real easy. I need two things. Where are two like-minded things? I don't have two like-minded things. Let's say this Diet Coke is Apple. This one is Google, right? Apple goes, we're going to charge you $2 more. And you go, oh man, that's not very good. And Google says, we're not going to charge you $2 more. And they're not greedy. What you don't realize is they're literally selling your data for $50. Right? So even though it doesn't cost your pocketbook that $2 more, the invasion and privacy and all those extra things, they are making that money. Whereas Apple, and they're in the news right now because there's some other things going on, but in general, Apple will not sell your data. So, you know, it is $2 more, but at what cost, right? And even if you were just all about the dollars, the way advertising works, it's likely you'll spend more than $2 a month with the advertising you're going to get just by the tracking and all of that. So everything costs money. You know, YouTube, arguably, you can watch this for free, right? And but there's infrastructure, and everyone's got a cost, and everyone wants to get paid to play, and all of these things have to exist. And you know, but at the same time, be smart with your money. There is a way to only pay $4.99, and you know, the real workaround is signing up online and then using the YouTube app on an iPhone will protect your data, and you're getting the cheaper rate. Like you just, oh, I found the workaround. Do we not like Ultimate by Hikari anymore? No, I love Ultimate. The only reason I don't use Ultimate as much as I use Fritz Complete is the pump head. And then, full disclosure, I don't use any dechlorinator anymore because I'm on a well. But when I wasn't on a well, I liked the pump head. Quick and easy. Now, if they had that for the Ultimate, I'd do that too. I like it. Would an Epistogramma go in a community tank? Mainly Tetras, Libraries, and Cories, 52 gallons? Yeah, you could probably do something like some Cockatoides. Yep, or Borelli. I think my vision's going. I really feel like I gotta... Where are my glasses at? Let me see if this helps. Like, I feel like either I'm just really fatigued or I really need to get my eyes checked out. I'm also sitting back a little further, and small print, but hold on, I gotta get smart. I gotta get the Clark Kent. Is that what it is? Or am I doing the reverse? The where'd Corey from Aquarium Co-op go? See if this helps any. Oh man, it's like someone sneezed right on this thing. And I feel like my wife's always having to clean her glasses because I'll always touch the lens when I hand them because I'm just a barbarian. All right. Not that I'm like doing it intentionally. I don't fully realize what I've done by putting hand oil on someone's glasses. I can see a little bit clearer now, actually. Oh, but now we got wicked bad glare. Look at that. Let me see if I can close other screens and laptops. No, that's not going to fix it at all. It's just horrible. All right. We'll make do. Is the smoke really bad here? Oh, it's not so bad. There's some haze and all that, but nothing too crazy. Wait, Control Plus to make the text bigger? If this blows up my computer. Oh my gosh. Game changer. Red Wing, Blackbird. You get the gold star of the day. Control Plus. Oh, and it's only this window. I like it. I like it. All right, where'd I go? Do I suggest to have a UV filter on your show tank? I noticed you had one on Elmer's tank. Yeah, I've got one on Elmer's tank, and I've got one on the 800 gallon. In my opinion, if you've got the budget for it, I do like having UV sterilizer. However, if you were tighter on a budget, like if you had to go, well, it's a light or a UV sterilizer, I would go with the light. But if you can afford all the bells and whistles and you want that added layer of clarity and like disease protection, I really do like UV sterilizers. Corey was today years old when he learned about Control Plus. I'm pretty sure the day you learn about Control Plus is the day you get old. Like, I can't see. Oh my gosh. Yeah, who knew, right? Yeah, I'm not a glasses wearer normally, so I don't have anti-glare glasses or anything. I'm new to the old man game. I'm 38 now. Ooh, getting old. All right, I'm about to expand my fish room to 50 tanks. Will you guys be selling some of your products in bulk eventually? No. Basically, we made a decision a long time ago that if I could reduce the price by selling in bulk, I should just make the price that. And so that's what we've been doing. So like sponge filters and that kind of stuff, they don't really save money. Like when people go, I'm going to order 100, I just go, great. You're going to buy 100 products that I barely make any money on. You know, so it's like people go, well, if I buy 100, can I get them for $8 each? Like, no, because they're going to, by the time we, like what people wouldn't know is that by the time we ship this to you, let's say this one's, I don't know what this even costs. But the profit on it is only like 42 cents. And so you're like, well, if I bought 100, you'd make $42. Can you give them to me for $9 each? Like, no, because then I would have lost $52 or 58. Hold on, that's not the right math. I would have lost $62. I said 42. Brain not working. 42 is 68. No, 58. Brain's so slow. Yeah, 58. So I'd lose $58. That's why we can't do it, because we've already priced it. And I realize that all companies say that. I get that. I get all of those things. And just know that prices keep going up on this stuff. We're not raising the price. The margins keeps going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. We're going to have to do something. Are we going to have to do something? And we're figuring out, what are we going to do? Can these prices come back down before we, because whenever you raise prices, you lose customers and you get a bad reputation. And so we're going, can we weather this a little bit longer until we have to get that bad publicity? So normally I'm very quick at math off the top of my head. The problem is I was doing that all day long with warehouse spacing and figuring out square footage and pricing and where stuff was going to live. Yeah, let's get tired and do math game. Yeah. Suggestions for an air pump to run 3 20 gallons, 2 10 gallons, and room to expand to a couple more tanks. Quiet pumps are a must. You got a tall order there. That is a very tall order that I don't think a niche product really exists yet. So you've got 5 tanks now, maybe going to like 7. You're in that real weird zone, I would say. And to be super quiet. I honestly don't think I have a great recommendation. And yeah, because you basically have got like some 2 outlet options, which are okay-ish and fairly quiet. 4 outlet options usually are pretty loud. And then you've got things like linear air piston pumps, which are quiet, but they put out so much air that you might be better off. You're probably better off going with like probably just 5 air pumps, which monetarily will seem terrible, but will probably give you the loudness you're looking for. You might be able to split, like 1 outlet into 2 for the 10 gallons type of deal. How do I feel about tetras and aggression, namely Serpre tetras? Well, a lot of tetras are aggressive, if you will, but if you pack them with a lot of their own, they're kind of the normal temperament. So, yeah. It's my brain. Is it Red Winged Blackbird's birthday? I think it was Joel Gillett's birthday yesterday. Lots of people have birthdays. It's crazy. When you know thousands of people, it's someone's birthday every day. Biscuits and gravy waiting for you in Alabama. Check out the Fish Room 2. I had previously asked about Congo tetras and you helped. They spawned, raising fry now. Awesome. Yeah, I was thinking about biscuits and gravy going, I haven't had that in many, many, many months. I don't even know when the last time I've had it was. I get customers fussing at me all the time about price changes. I was cussed out and screamed at yesterday, and we really can't control it. I mean, to be fair, a business does have some control in that we've got those 3 levers, and you can pull one of those, but they might be screaming at you for price. But if you had changed quality or customer service, they would just, complain about that. Not everyone does. If 1 out of 10 people complain, you're purely going, okay, these 10%, how do I want to deal with those people? And, it is what it is. No one, back in my day, a Diet Coke was $1 out of the vending machine, if you can believe that. Now they're like 2 something. So just over time, everything changes. I work directly with a ton of brands for my company that have finally made the decision to raise map prices, and when they have, it's been an average of 12% retail. Yep, that's a real reality we're looking at. Now, the good news is we manufacture or have manufactured for us a lot of products. So our first process is, usually what happens is, like, let's say this cave manufacturer, they come to us and go, hey, the price of materials has gone up, your buy price has gone up. And you have an option, you can go, okay. Or what we try and go is, well, how many would we have to buy to not increase the price? And they might go, if you buy 10,000 at a time, we'll keep the same price. Then we go, okay, we'll take 10,000. And then we come on the live stream and we go, hey, you guys should buy this because we now have 10,000 of these and you guys buy them and the price doesn't have to go up. But eventually another increase comes down the road a year or two later and we go, hey, how do we not get a price increase? And they go, yeah, there's no way out of this one. We gave you one, you are buying in bulk and all that, and really there's nothing else we can do, and that's when we'll have to change. Well, okay, well, these caves, they got to go up by 50 cents to make ends meet on all the parties. So, but yes, it's our cardboard just for shipping your guys' stuff is going up. I think it was 14%. I said, was it 14 or 18%? I can't remember. And we definitely flu ball went up. So flu ball went up as well. Like there's everyone's got to make money. Employees got to get paid. Everything's got to happen. We're all on a subconscious level aware of if this Diet Coke is free and they never make money, guess what? There won't be someone to make it next time. Like we all know that things have a cost and that it's when it triggers that, wait, this thing's $7 now? Everyone's got a value of what they think a product is worth, and when you get too far out of line with some of those things, so if we raise the price on sponge filters, let's say it's by $1, I don't know, right? There's going to be people that go, oh, that's the camel, or that's the camel that broke the straw. The straw that broke the camel's back, I no longer will support Aquariumcoop, and I won't buy that product. And we know that will happen. We also know that if we were to reduce the price by $1, people that were on the fence now would start buying it. So the difference between $9 and $11 on that sponge filter is probably 20 to 30% of the marketplace that may or may not buy. So it's dangerous levers to play with, but you can't also just go, well, let's just sell this product at a loss. That's the most dangerous way to operate. Let's hope it comes back. Coke's never on sale anymore. It's hard to put things on sale when, let's say to move this Diet Coke from the plant to a store, per unit cost 1 penny. It literally might be like 22 cents. 22 cents to ship that same thing now. Uline jumped to 18% across the board. Yes, so some of the boxes we actually get from Uline. And oddly enough, that's actually Mitch. Mitch runs our warehouse currently. I was like, oh, that looks just like, oh, wait, that is Mitch. So yeah, it was 18% across the board on. So that would be things like some of the bags we put plants in, some of the tapes, some of the cardboard boxes, some of the specialized stuff. So we need a specific box to put like a linear air piston pump in, right? And we don't move millions of linear air piston pumps, so we buy we'll buy 500 boxes at a time, and that'll last us 6 months or something, But it doesn't make sense to try and do, a big run of them or something. So we just have to go, well, it's 18% more expensive on that. I bid on that one. I just didn't see the other ones. I'm scrolling up to see if I can see any other Mitch. To be fair, I was shocked to learn that Mitch was a member of the channel. I don't even know when my own employees are a member, so please don't feel bad if I missed your statement not being an employee of mine. Like, it's hard. Yes. Mitch says, Control plus the scroll wheel will do it. Yes, that is true. I'm testing it right now. You guys have revolutionized my world. I'm literally going to use this every day now. I like it. No one ships better than you guys. Hey, give the praise to, now I would say, so like as we get bigger and I would say that goes to obviously the shipping crew and Mitch. Randy is kind of, well, not kind of, he is above that now. Like we were shopping for the next warehouse. We're, working on products and that kind of stuff where, 18 months ago, Randy would have been running that ship. So, yeah. Do we have local pickup? We don't yet. And I say yet because with COVID, the functionalities with our software came into play and it works, but they're having some inventory issues and things like that. So I'm waiting for everything to get smoothed out and hopefully us get a little bit bigger retail space before we start trying to pull some of that off. We also have the hardship of some products aren't available in the retail store. So for instance, if you ordered, I need 5 2XL hoodies. Well, there's probably only one in stock at the retail store, right? And so it would be difficult to order that and then fulfill it at some places and maintain inventories and do all that. So we need to make sure that we have enough stock at retail, make sure we have a pickup process, make sure it's pulling from right inventories, make sure we adjust for stocking levels and all of that. And that's actually becomes a big project to pull off. And we do want to do it, but we just haven't made that a priority yet. I hope you branch out all over the USA. We need an aquarium co-op in New England. I don't have that many great employees. That is the worst way to say that statement. That's not what I meant to say. I meant we have 35 great employees. If I go to 10 aquarium co-ops, it'd be really hard to find 350. You know, like how do I get 10 Jimmys, 10 Mitches, 10 Randys, 10 Candies? Say that. Mitches, Randys, Candies, Jimmys, Lizzies. And that's the thing is I like picking out, let's grab Zenzo, let's grab Irene, let's grab this person, let's grab this person. And the more you expand, the faster you do that, the more you got to make kind of quick hires and that kind of stuff. And so we like to move slow and steady and get people to, really kind of be onboarded and really learn about what Aquarium Co-op is about to make those decisions of like, let's make this right. 10 deans. Dean technically is not an employee. He should be, but he's not an employee. We do pay him as an influencer for the videos he's in, but he's technically not an employee. So, let's see. Is it beneficial to use Vitachem in a shrimp tank? That I don't know, Christopher. I've never really tested that out, so I suspect on one level it wouldn't hurt, but I also don't know that specifically it would enhance the situation. So, yeah. Do we have to quarantine plants we buy from Aquarium Co-op? Yes. I say yes because it does me no good to say no. That's like you ask your doctor, should I exercise more? The answer, they should always be like, yes. Because if they're, as a doctor, if you're like, no, well, the doctor said I shouldn't exercise anymore. The reality is our plants should be very safe. I've never had any problems. The problems are so few and far between, but you should assess that risk for yourself. So officially, you should quarantine them for 50 years. Now, in a practical way, you're probably going, yeah, I looked at them. They look great. Yeah, it's going to work. Will Aquarium Co-op have any representation at the Keystone Clash? We will not. We did donate money to help sponsor that event, but we will not be there in person or anything like that. And I don't think we have like any stand-ins or any that kind of stuff going on. We just wanted to make sure at the time when they were trying to raise money, I was like, yeah, let's get some money to them. I'm sure it's been hard to raise money during COVID and clubs are hurting. And let's start, assuming we're back to normal, let's make sure they kind of get off to a good start. Hopefully that auction goes really well and it supplies money for the local clubs to get those back in action. He'll see one of these days. I don't know what Alex is saying, but one of these days I'll see. Were the Powerheads generally designed for tanks larger than 10 or 20 gallons? Would those size tanks benefit much from a sponge filter with the Powerhead versus just sponge filter? Yeah, in my mind, they were more designed for like 55 gallons and up. Because smaller tanks, air-driven is just so efficient that I feel like you don't need the power aspect of that. But you can do what you want. And that being said, like Dean, we'll walk into Dean's fish room and be like, look, I set up on a 20 long. I'm spawning zebra plecos. I wanted the extra flow. There's a million ways to do a million different things, but that was not the target demographic as like pleco breeder in a 20 long. It was more like, larger tanks, need to fix circulation, want to deliver plant nutrients, want some more finer polishing. All of those, like Zenzo. Zenzo is a perfect example. His tanks with African cichlids and Oscars, and usually that kind of 50-gallon and up sizes are perfect candidates for Powerheads, whereas a 10-gallon, I'm like, that's a lot of equipment, honestly, to be playing in a 10. My 300-gallon guppy pond has succeeded in having guppies. I'm a guppy breeder now. But just kidding, but definitely felt rewarded seeing first babies after setting it up. Yeah, that's what keeps me in the hobby still, is like no matter what, being successful breeding a fish, that's always the one-on-one. It's kind of you against yourself. So the time you put in, you're rewarded with success. Yeah, that's. Are we talking about my shoes? We're probably talking about my shoes. All right, now I'm wearing slippers, so I can't even show you the shoes that people are talking about in the live stream. I'm sure my employees just make fun of me nonstop. Are they my Crocs? No, they weren't. And they weren't Crocs. They were. I don't own Crocs. I own what do I own? Birkenstocks. I actually own the Super Birkies. But it hasn't been wet enough to really warrant them, so I haven't been wearing those. If you can't tell, which I'm sure you could, I don't really care about style or anything. It's all about function. And I mean, that's why I'm wearing sweatpants and a $5 Amazon t-shirt. Yeah. I'm all about just like, how do I just get work done? Everything else an afterthought. Get work and, hang out with the wife and the puppies, and yeah. Oh, I just did that sound. Hopefully that doesn't come back. I used to do that all the time in live streams. Drove people nuts. Those shoes are awesome. I found my first pair. I'll show you these shoes someday. We found them in Japan, and they're made in France, and they're basically adult-sized. Well, I mean they're adult-sized shoes. I'm an adult, but they have Velcro straps, and they're easy and they're comfortable. So I rock them. I don't care that people make fun of me. Like, hey, I know who I am. I'm a fish nerd. I don't care. Aquariumcoop trading cards. Yes, we have definitely thought about trading cards, and like part of the app would be collecting points and leveling up a character, and we're all, well, not all of us, but we're pretty nerdy, a lot of gamers and that kind of stuff, and so we definitely want to build something like that out sometime, but it's going to be costly, and we want to do it right, not just make it, be weird. But we thought it would be cool. Like, part of it is after you buy X amount of plants on the website, like maybe you learn a skill, like you have an avatar and you could design your character, and then you're like, oh, look at that, you're a plant farmer, and then, oh, look at that, you've bought this much stuff, so you're now a fish breeder or whatever, right? And get different professions and build it out. And let's say, thinking down the rabbit hole, we have the breeder award program for the members. Like, oh, you bred this many fish, you get this title over on your character. Like, all of that's kind of fun stuff to do, but costs a lot of money. And we need like profit margin to come back. So we go, yeah, we spent $70,000 developing an app that is purely for the lulz. Like, we just laugh. But right now we're like, let's just make sure we don't go out of business. Like, that's where we need to be focusing on. Are more fish stickers coming? Probably. Right now, the kind of what happened is we kind of went deep into the sticker game, right? And then everyone else went deep into the sticker game. And so it like unmotivated me. That's not the right word. Demotivated me to kind of do more stickers. There's like Aqua Pros, who's got like 7,000 different ones. You've got Wild Fish Tanks. He's done some like local ones that are pretty cool, and they're all cool. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're not cool, but the sticker game did blow up like overnight, and so it's like, well, I mean, we could do more, but then I hate being like, now it's just a Me Too product. Like, yeah, you get it. You put out 30 more stickers, It's like, yeah, but it was something cool we were doing for a while. Like, okay, fine. And so we will make some more, but we were talking about today, and we're like, well, what do we do now? Like, everyone's made them all. Like, how do we make? And so I thought the good troll was I was just going to make a sticker of AquaPro's face and start giving that out. I personally haven't bought other people's stickers. I've seen some and I felt some. I know that we're buying the most expensive stickers money can buy because I like quality. And I felt some competitor stickers going, they're not terrible, but I know they didn't buy the highest quality. Well, maybe they don't know where to buy them, but I know that ours are a thicker mill and all of that, I'd love pins. Pins, we could do more pins. We just need, right now, shipping and working with China and COVID going around, all this, it is so hard to launch new products and to source materials and, you know, pins when they're like, oh, they cost us $4. That'll be cool. We can give those away. And then it's not so bad to ship it. And then when you're like, hey, they cost us $6 to make one now. And wait, it's $2 per to ship it because of container prices? Like, that's crazy. So once things kind of settle back down, then that's more of a possibility. Will I ever get my wife in the video? She's been in a few. Like, there's a live stream that she was in. Every time my wife is on camera, I get into trouble somehow. Like, the last time is when, like right now, if she walked in and I didn't have a chair and I didn't give up my chair, I would catch flack for it. But I definitely, we've got her slated for, I really want Jimmy to do it, and he wants to do it too. We want to do an Aquariumcoop documentary from like when I worked at a fish store all the way to where we are now, and my wife would probably be like 30% of that whole 2-hour video because she knows it all. She has been a part of it all. She supported me early. She knows the different stories and all of those things. And you'd also get to hear from people you never heard of before, like my silent business partner and the guy that built my store and all of that kind of stuff. And best intentions, I keep meaning to like, yeah, I should get, you know, I'm supposed to get Dean on the show. I'm supposed to get, you know, Katie on the show, and we just haven't done it yet. And you know, part of it is I'm just wicked tired and overworked, and it's like, oh, I should really do more of that kind of stuff. And I'm working towards, you know, hey, how about you work on this and you work on this and free up some time and this. But you know, it's free up time so I can go rent a new warehouse. It's going to be insane. Do I think things will actually come back down? Well, I don't know if things will actually come back down, but I believe that either A, the price of shipping and stuff will come back down some, or B, a new baseline will be established. So if this, I don't know what the right product is. Let's call it this thing right here. It's on my desk that I bought off Amazon. This 22 key USB numeric pad, right? If this thing, you know, and products like this have to go up from shipping, now, kind of countrywide and worldwide, the cost to live becomes a certain level. And then wages will increase. So right now, I like to think about things, I've always thought this in my life from when I was younger and worked for like my grandma mowing the yard and doing things like that, is how long, like I remember the first time I think that I can remember thinking about this, how many times do I have to mow the yard to get the BMX bike that I want that was a GT and it was like $225 and I got $20 to mow the lawn and it took me probably a little more than an hour. And so I'm like, okay, 20 hours, but the problem was we were only mowing like every other week, right? And I wanted that bike for the summer. Now, my grandma is the nicest person on the planet, so she did buy me that bike early, but I still had to work it off. But I remember thinking, 40 weeks, that's like a year. I'm never going to get this bike. And I did get it. But I've always kind of from then thought about, hey, how long do I need to work? You know, so if I make 15, well, you know, at the time when I was like my first job was $7.35 an hour working at the college sorting mail. How many, well, back then, the direct comparison I was doing, yeah, Mongoose GT, yes, that's the bike. And then I wanted to upgrade, you know, aluminum pedals and aluminum forks and all that because we had a local bike track. Anyway, back to thinking about $7.35 and going and grabbing lunch at like a fast food place. If you're going to spend $5 on a meal, I would think like, man, I got to work like 45 minutes to pay for this. Then I would go, okay, I work 8 hours. Am I willing to eat what I want with, you know, I'm not getting like a milkshake and all that. It would be like $15, right? But just like enough to subsist to make this work. And so at the time I got a little bit of assistance, but then I was paying for the rest of books and all of my college. and I had a little bit of rent to my parents and made me pay a little bit of rent and all of that. And basically, my goal back then was to eat each day for $10 or less. And that's so that way I could pay all my bills and still kind of buy some of these things I would need. Like, oh, if I wanted to upgrade my computer, I could do that after time, right? And so I would convert working the hours and the money basically to hours and go, am I willing to work for, basically an hour and a half to feed myself today? And the answer is yes, right? And so right now, let's say I still made that $7.35. When you go and you look at, let's say, getting 2 fast food meals or something, right? Like something we can all kind of, here in the Northwest, you might go for a Big Mac meal and it's dang near $10 now. Now, I realize the country has different pricing and stuff like that, but am I willing to, back then, am I willing to work 3 hours a day to feed myself? Like you have to, but you're going, wow, I got to do something about this. And so I think everything will level off. Either pricing will come down or the price you make per hour goes up. And I think what we normally see year in, year out is a little bit of both. Price correcting, like housing market's crazy right now, like price corrects a little bit up and down, and then so do wages. And those, the closer to those being in line, the happier we get as a society. The further away they are, the less happy we are. And so, that's where we as a company going, okay, well, if price is going up, we have to, pay for that. But then we know in a year or two, like, well, if pricing is up here, we got to pay employees more. So that kind of comes up. And really the real pricing of stuff doesn't flatline out for probably another couple years. So. All right, it's almost 7, and I got date night tonight, so I got to wrap it up. I'd like to hear your opinion on when to gravel vac. Assuming parameters appear good, what is the line between allowing poop to build up for plants versus fish swimming in a toilet? So in my opinion, if the water parameters test well or test good, then I don't worry about it. If visually you don't like the look of poop, then gravel vac it. When it comes to fish's health, they don't care at all. When you go to the wild, poop is 5 feet thick, like that. It's all about water parameters itself. So, what aesthetically what you like to look at is gonna be, if you've already tested the water, then then you're good. The wages have a bit to go, but I get the analogy. Yeah, let me definitely be clear I do not consider myself an economist. I do not consider myself to be very good at that. I just know in general from what I've experienced in my life is things will find a balance. It's kind of like when you pour, like a resin on a tabletop or something. It'll find the level and smooth everything out. And that's kind of what the economy, it has to. If it doesn't, it eventually just collapses. You bringing the puppies in? Wins. Come on. Come here. Come here. You're not being. Come here. Oh, come here. You're not being a very good show dog. Oh, there we go. There we go. Wincy the show dog. Oh, the Wincy hair is flying. Look in the camera. You put a tree to the camera. Yeah, I can't reach it without, because I got the microphone. Get it? Well, no. Well, you can if you want, but. This is the best content when you just have the dogs doing nothing.
You're fine, baby. You're not.
She says, help. Help. I don't think it helps. This screen's really bright, so she's just locked on, and maybe she sees herself, but this is where I can view what's in the screen. Look at that dog hair. Don't lick that. I'm going to be coated in dog hair for date night now.
We're going to go on a walk.
Oh, we're going on a walk, I guess. That makes sense. Go on a walk after. I'll put you down. You're sweating me. Oh, Tinky, Tinks, come here, Tinks. Come here, Tinks. Probably sitting on the mic. What's that? Make that funny sound you make. Yes. Yeah. Playing the Tinky. All right, go see mom. All right, that's the doggies, and I gotta go for a walk covered in dog hair while I'll brush myself off. And I will probably see you guys next Tuesday. Hopefully Tuesday we'll keep working out. And yeah, I am literally just covered in dog hair. Why is
I don't know.
Wincy's excited?
Look at her.
Oh, it's because I said, going for a walk?
Yeah.
You want to go for a walk? Should we go for a walk?
You go potty?
You want to go?
No.
Yes. So we'll go walk the dogs, and we'll see you guys next week. Video out on Sunday. There's probably a YouTube short coming up soonish, something like that. And yeah. Yes, buy everything, as my wife says. Buy all of our stuff. New nets, Powerheads. Buy them at the inflated price. Well, we haven't actually moved the price. What's that? Oh, we're gonna any profit we make will go into dog costumes, I'm told. So yeah, I've been blessed by the many hairs. That is true. It doesn't show on camera. Well, maybe a little bit. You can. Yeah, you would see the hair, but that's what you get when you have short-haired chihuahuas, right, Wince? Right, Wince? All right, we gotta walk these doggies. See you guys. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Have a great night. And thanks to all the new members. And hopefully we'll see you the third Saturday for the next talk.
Where's my chair?
That's right. I don't have your chair. All right. See, I'm in trouble. I gotta find the button. Uh-oh, it made this screen ginormous. Control and... Oh, you can make it too small. Someone in the chat that is the wizard with this plus and minus button and the scrolling. How do I set it to native, like normal? Because right now it's like a little bit too small. I need like a set to original button. Yeah, Mitch might know. Someone will know. Someone put it in the chat. I'm ending it, and I will look for that tidbit. Thank you guys so much.